Well, for the record, it is May 13th, 2021. This is our ongoing BDA and AMO training. This week, the focus is on Global Atlantic. So we're going to dive right into it because I want to give Dave as much time as possible. And then we'll discuss afterwards some things that we can talk about as well. But really, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Dave. And Dave, who's on. We have Sylvester Williams, which is one of our affiliate marketing offices out in the Chicagoland area. And then William also works with him as well. They're partnered up on that side. And then we'll have a few other people on, Wella Financial, and then maybe SLP, and then possibly Role Model from North Carolina, but they'll all get this recording as well. The reason that we're bringing Dave on is on our end, like I said, we're always trying to answer the question of why do the agents that we work with need to have XYZ company in their portfolio. And today we're going to be talking about Global Atlantic. And that's really what Dave is going to come on to answer that question for. And I know he has some material and content to go over. And we just from my perspective, I love Global Atlantic and a lot of the things that they've done. They're one of my top recommendations in the annuity space for reasons that I won't steal Dave's thunder for. Really, with that, like I said, without further ado, I'm going to bring Dave on, and you can tell a little bit about your history and who you are and how we can utilize you, and then you can hit the ground running. The floor is yours.
Sounds good. I appreciate the kind intro. So yeah, a little bit. I'll give you a quick high level just on me because I think it's kind of speaks to the Global Atlantic story while I share my screen here. But I've been with Global Atlantic for roughly 7 years now. Just recently transitioning over to this independent IMO, FMO space in December of last year. The reason for that was a big initiative from Global Atlantic to be a much bigger player in the IMO space. So if you're familiar with us, you probably know some of our strategies. But for lack of a better term, I'd say we were relatively underrepresented from a personnel standpoint. In 2019 to 2020, we had 4 people covering the entire channel. One guy that ran across the entire country. He was on the road like 48 weeks a year. And we had 3 internals that just fielded inbound calls. We saw this as a weak spot for us. We wanted to have a much larger presence. We see this as our growth engine for the next 5 to 7 years. And to do that, we knew we had to add headcount. So I grew up on the broker dealer side of the business, with our larger accounts. They then transitioned me and 4 others in my role to cover this IMO space. And where we sit today, this channel that was covered by 4 people is now covered by 25 individuals, including a national accounts team that's doing a lot of relationship management, as well as guys like myself proactively marketing and showing our strategies to marketers to try to help, identify needs for your advisors. So that's a little bit of the Global Atlantic story. Like I said, this is a big investment for us. We really would like to be a valued partner here. And if you can see my screen, Nathan, you got my screen up?
I actually don't see your screen.
That's weird. Well, let's try that again. Let's share screen.
Technology is always a trip.
Always fun. All right, now it should work, I think.
There we go. Now I see it.
Fantastic. Minor speed bump. That falls in the lanes. That was kind of corny. But here's our lanes piece. This is kind of how we summarize the Global Atlantic strategies. What I think is a big value add that we offer is myself and Keaton Scott, who couldn't be on the call today. We cover all of the products that we offer. So you don't need to go to somebody else for long-term care, somebody for index, somebody for SPIAs. Everything falls under myself and Keaton. We can cover and address any questions, do any, presentations, illustrations, all in one spot. But I'm going to zoom in a little bit and highlight our lanes flyer. This is where our products fit. We break it down into, think of it as a highway. Our left lane is our index annuity suite. This is it definitely is our biggest driver of business. We see the most flows in here due to our choice accumulation product, which from the name, you got it, accumulation, which we have also through advisor feedback built what I would say is the leading enhanced death benefit option in the industry today. And I'll touch on that a little bit. Our income 150 plus, that has been our best seller year over year, right up until we actually added the enhanced death benefit on choice accumulation. These two strategies are kind of going back and forth on a month over month basis as our top seller. And in a very close third, our choice income product, which is more of a deferred income story versus our income 150 plus, which is your now or soon product. The middle lane, you're looking at just traditional fixed annuities. We offer a 3 and a 5 year, as well as a SPIA. I'm not going to dive into these today because they're pretty self-explanatory from, a marketing standpoint, 3 and 5 year fixed or SPIA. What I will say though, is the SPIA product, our sweet spot right now is really a period certain within 5 to 10 years is where we're going to probably spreadsheet the best today. The final right lane, which I would call our emergency lane, is our fixed annuity with a long-term care rider built into it. This is what I would say our most interesting and attractive story. I'd say it opens the door to most conversations. I know Keaton leads with it a ton. He's, a former pure life insurance guy. So we kind of joke that the long-term care is sort of like his gateway drug into the annuity world. So I'm going to give you guys some quick high level on each of these strategies. We're going to focus on accumulation, income 150, and the long-term care, and just kind of give you some ideas of where we fit and where we're seeing success in the industry. If that sounds good to you, Nathan.
That's perfect.
Awesome. So let's jump into the choice accumulation too. At its core, if you were to get it at its bare bones model, it is simply an accumulation indexed annuity. You'll never lose money due to market performance. If the crediting methods, if you elect them, if they're negative, contract stays flat. If they go up, you can earn up to, caps or participation rates, or more popular are spread strategies. But to take this strategy a step further, you can add this enhanced death benefit that is on the screen right now. This, like I said, we had a panel of advisors on our broker dealer side that we would consult with saying, hey, this is what we currently offer. What would you like to see more of from Global Atlantic? And it was almost unanimous that we didn't have a strong solution for legacy planning. And that's where the EDB, as we call it, was born. So how it works, it is available to issue age 75. Anyone that is 75 and younger can elect this death benefit. The way they elect it, you go through a standard application, and all they're going to do is simply check a box that they would like to add the death benefit onto the contract. There's no underwriting, there's no screenings. You're 75 and younger, you check the box, you now have an enhanced death benefit. The enhanced death benefit brings your total cost from the bare bones model from 0 to 50 basis points. So all in cost on the account would be 0.5%. And in exchange for a 50 basis point fee, we will give you a legacy death benefit bucket that will grow by 7% simple interest for up to 15 years. So really strong story, especially, given, the past low interest rate environments we've been in. Clients that have money to set aside, kind of set it and forget it, just basic math exercise. You put in 100 grand after 15 years for a death benefit, you're looking at a guaranteed $205,000 death benefit. So really
Dave,
strong.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm taking coping this and actually someone sent a text because I actually have an agency that we work with. Literally was asking me yesterday about a potential enhanced death benefit. And the other ones that are looking at, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. The fees were a heck of a lot higher, usually about 2 times higher, actually. And so this looks like I just sent it over and tell them we have an option now that we should look at for this.
Yeah, no, and we appreciate you getting us in front of people. And, it says a lot to the product that we can be recommended by you guys. and when I tell this story, my mind immediately goes straight to non-qualified dollars. Like I mentioned earlier, that set it and forget it mindset. That works. It's fantastic for people that can just put money to the side like that. But what I think is the biggest driver, and in terms of, I hate the phrase sales idea, but sales idea for this product is the fact that it's RMD friendly. And what that means is that clients can purchase this, add the enhanced death benefit, and then take their RMDs and only reduce the death benefit amount on a dollar for dollar basis. So let me skip through for a few slides. Here's the simple math I showed you earlier, 100,000 versus 205,000 death benefit.
Yeah.
But I think this is the power of the RMD strategy. Now, this is for people who are taking their RMD simply because we know they are required to do it. It's not someone who needs the RMD to, buy groceries. This is someone who's just being forced to take money because they have it. They can add the enhanced death benefit and essentially offset their RMDs and still provide a growth death benefit amount to their beneficiaries, whether that be kids, or in my family standpoint, they'd probably skip and go to the grandkids. But what you're looking at on screen here is an example of a $100,000 investment. It's an annuity, so we just assume a worst case scenario of a 0% return on this little graph. What you'll see is $100,000 goes in. They take their RMDs every year. You'll see a cumulative RMD amount that they've put into their pocket of $55,436. That's money they've taken out of the contract, put it in their pocket because they had to. Their contract value, their actual cash amount, has just been bleeding dry over this time due to the 0% return scenario we're showing and the RMDs being forced to come out. However, like I said, we can sort of offset this. So we know it's a 7% enhanced death benefit. RMDs aren't going to be 7% for quite some time. So you're still getting some growth even while taking your RMD out. So if this client were to pass away here at 85, they've taken, a little over 55,000. Their enhanced death benefit is just shy of $124,000. We add these two together to get our total value provided of just under 180 grand. And that's assuming you've never had a positive interest day over the past 15 years. So even in, the quote unquote Armageddon scenario of performance, you're still getting over $80,000 in total value provided just by adding this enhanced death benefit.
Is there a timeline on, because like some of the other enhanced death benefits, like you have to live for at least 5 years to be able to get the benefit. Is there a timeline on this one?
The only quote unquote timeline there would be is you have to live at least 366 days because it credits at the end of each year. But no, if you were to pass away in the middle of year 2 and you put in 100 grand, you would see a guaranteed $7,000 increase.
Yeah, that's in the enhanced death benefit world. I mean, I'm not really versed in that space. Like I know the other stuff, but from what I've seen, that's a phenomenal play. A lot better than most of the other enhanced death benefits that are out there.
Yeah, and we kind of pride ourselves on these strategies being as simple as possible. Annuities, you say that word, a lot of people are like, oh, they're convoluted, they're confusing. We've tried to eliminate that stigma from our strategies. A lot of them come down to basic math. You put in X, we're going to give you Y, and it's that simple. Mm-hmm. And that's the enhanced death benefit story. The second kind of math product that I'm going to cover right now is our income 150 plus. So we cover the accumulation and the death benefit. Now, what about clients that need to see income? Mm-hmm. This is our top seller, the income 150 plus SE. SE stands for special edition. I don't know why they called it that, but it's what it is. How it works: year 1, day 1, you will receive a 20% boost on your premium. So you put in 100 grand, you want to start taking income, you're going to start drawing income off of $120,000 immediately. If you want to defer, we'll give you 7.5% of premium each year after that. And where that's going to be highlighted is you'll see the 120. You defer to the start of year 2, which I think is important, the start of it. You're up to 127.5, 135, and so on, just basic math. The final boost, year 6 through 9 are kind of like a dead zone. There's not going to be any guaranteed roll up in those periods. But if you were to have someone whose income needs change and they wait and they don't start income until after, the start of the 10th year, that's where their final boost comes in. And all we're going to do is give them 150% of whatever amount of interest they earned in the first 9 years. We don't really see this as a huge factor. I personally don't think it's a big selling feature. It's a good to have for the rare cases where their income needs change. But your sweet spot here, I would say even more sweet spot, is slightly older clients looking for income now or pretty soon in those first 5 years. And you give us, a dollar amount, and we can tell you today what we'll pay them in any given year whenever they wanted to turn it on.
Yeah, that's definitely how I've been using it, Dave. And just to confirm, because I know the 10-year, that means they have to delay income. They can't, if they take income on year 3, they don't get that credit on year 10 still, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So that's where it's not really a huge selling feature, more of just a good to have. But yeah, once you activate income in any given year, like say you start income year 3, that's your income payment. So year 4 is null and void, year 5, and you don't get that 10-year.
Yeah, I mean, with the other big bonus income annuities that are out there, I mean, you have to keep them in for 10 years to even be able to take income. So there's not very many annuities that allow for with that large of a bonus on a guarantee that have the flexibility to turn it on any year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, a keyword you said there is flexibility. I think one of the biggest features of this in terms of flexibility that we offer is, especially in terms of single or joint life income, your clients do not need to tell us if they want single or joint life income until they actually send in a withdrawal form, 1 to 5 years down the line, whatever it may be. And that's when they elect single or joint. So it doesn't need to be done at issue, which is just an added level of flexibility. Life changes, lifestyles change. You're not going to pick single or joint until you actually want to start income. That is not done at issue. So just a nice to know. And then in terms of protection, we share the same thing a bunch here. The other huge advantage that this income strategy has is a 2 times multiplier for healthcare needs. What this means is that lifetime annual payment, whatever you're getting, we will double that. So let's just say you put in, X amount of dollars and your lifetime annual payment is $10,000 a year. If your client is unable to perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, those are listed down here at the bottom. If they're unable to perform 2 of the 6, we will double the annual payment, that $10,000 amount, for up to 5 years. No added cost, available on each contract up to issue age 75. And I think a huge thing, there's no additional cost for this. It is on your contract, and we'll pay you, instead of $10,000, we'll pay you $20,000 for up to 5 years for healthcare needs. What happens after 5 years? Is the contract end? No. If you were to survive through 5 years of your doubled payment, we're simply just going to revert back in year 6 to the original $10,000 we guaranteed you at issue.
Is that and paid out indemnity style?
It is a reimbursement style.
Reimbursement. Okay, gotcha.
But there's the other thing, you'll see single or joint life can trigger it.
That makes sense. Yep, that's an awesome feature that goes along with it.
That's the income 150 in a nutshell. Like I said, short, sweet, guaranteed. you give us, X amount of dollars and we'll tell you exactly what we can give you back in exchange. And I think the healthcare, this is a great, especially when you get into a competitive environment, a great question if you're in a scenario to ask, are there healthcare benefits on this income rider? Knowing that Global Atlantic will give you this, and again, no additional cost.
Yeah. And like I said, just that flexibility story is huge in that arena with that level of bonus. Because as far as I know, and I know you might be able to talk more intelligently about it, but I mean, of course, the two large players are Allianz and Athene, and they're Allianz 222 and the Athene's Agility. That's a 10-year play, and those are the most sold out there. But they don't really have the flexibility of, well, I need to turn on income in year 2 or 3. And statistically speaking, there's a lot of people that never use the income bucket because it takes that long. So this for agents and advisors that are out there that are looking for, well, I need to mathematically know what my client is going to be able to get for income in any one of those years, especially in the first 5 years. This is the perfect fit for that client every single time.
Absolutely. So that's our 150 plus. The final thing I wanted to highlight today is the long-term care strategy. Now, in terms of simplicity and storytelling, I personally think that this is our most attractive product, and attractive in the sense that I don't think it could possibly be simpler to use this strategy. We designed this, so we have a life insurance business. One of the big complaints or concerns with life insurance is the underwriting process, the length that it takes. We have simplified that with this for care. At its core, it is a fixed annuity. You're purchasing a fixed annuity that has a long-term care benefit attached to it. What that fixed annuity does is gives you what we call the 3 C's: more care, more convenience, and more control. Now, at a high level, more care is the level of care we provide. When your clients go through underwriting, and before, a lot of times you say underwriting, people automatically check out. Underwriting sounds like a miserable process. We've definitely heard that. Ours is not. It could not be simpler, and I'll get to that in a second. When your clients go through underwriting, which is a 10-question questionnaire, they will receive one of 2 decisions. They will either be standard, assuming they're insurable, obviously. They will either be standard, which is 2 times their premium amount, or they will be premier, which is 3 times their premium. So simple math, you give us $100,000, you come back at premier rating, you now have $300,000 for long-term care. The convenience, the second C, is that underwriting process. Like I mentioned earlier, it is a 10-question questionnaire. This is available for any clients age 50 to 80 years old. A 50-year-old answers the exact same 10 questions that an 80-year-old would. So it's not like the older you get, the harder the questions are or the more information we look for. Not the case. The only difference between someone who is 50 and 80 is this little section of people that are 70 to 80 years old have one additional step. They need to do a 10-minute phone call. It is a cognitive screening where it is simply a memory exercise. We give them 10 words. How many can they remember? And then a logic portion. Here's 3 words. Which of these is not like the other? Once that's complete, you will receive a decision in 30 minutes. So you can start a meeting with a client, have them fill out the medical questionnaire, fax it in, and before you're even done your conversation, you'll have a notification from Global Atlantic as to what level of coverage they received. To speak to the consistency, the transparency, right now, we have a 95% approval rating on this product because of how clear it is and what the questions are. Of that 95%, 87% of them receive the 3 times maximum coverage of our premier rating. That then falls into the final C of the more control. What are we going to use this 3 times amount for? We'll cover pretty much anything. First and foremost, given the environment that, we have all lived in for the past year and change with COVID, this product covers in-home care immediately. So you can use your 3 times leverage for in-home care, which we're seeing a huge uptick in applications in this contract because of the in-home care feature. People want to avoid facilities as much as possible. This product allows them to do that, just with a little bit more gas from Global Atlantic in the spending feature. If you were to, quote unquote, graduate from in-home care and need more advanced care, it'll cover everything to adult daycare, nursing home facilities, all the way through to hospice care. So pretty much the whole lifespan of long-term care will be covered by the 4Care product. And you're going to know how much you get in 30 minutes or less. Quick example of how it works. For a single life, we determine it on a 72-month basis is what the coverage would be for. So you'll see on this premium example right here, we have offered, just for an example, 200,000. That 200,000, we're going to assume they got 3 times coverage, because most people do. That gives them a $600,000 benefit amount total. We simply divide that by 72 months to determine the maximum monthly benefit amount, which you'll see is $8,333 a month. So what this is saying is if you use the maximum amount every month, it would take you 72 months to spend through the entire benefit, which is your money plus Global Atlantic's money. Now, what if, the client only uses 4,000 a month? Then you just simply double the duration. You don't have to use a full amount. Use whatever you need. And if you don't use it all, we're just going to extend the months on the back end. So it doesn't expire after 72 months. And one of the biggest questions we get is this isn't like, a true insurance policy where if you don't use it, it's gone. This is, like I said, a traditional fixed annuity. So if you were to hold this for, 10 years and, let's say you're lucky and you never have a long-term care event, you want to walk away, you can. We'll return, your full premium plus a little bit of interest on top of it. So it's not, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's there if you need it. If you want to walk away after, the fixed annuity surrender schedule, you're free to do so. The final thing, I'm going to show you 2 more slides because we're a little bit up against time. This is PPA.
And for the record, like I said, not against my time, so our time. So I thought you had something at 10.
Yeah, I actually have to run out to a funeral, so I got you. I can give you 2 more minutes real quick. If that's all right.
You definitely need to go then. So yeah, no, it's good. Whatever you want to finish up, we're good. But yeah,
all right, I got 2 minutes for you. Final thing, it is PPA compliant. What that means is, since it is a fixed annuity, this accepts 1035s from old fixed annuities. So you can 1035 your earnings and the cost basis. We'll times it by 2 or 3 based on their underwriting. And then when you take the withdrawals out, assuming that it's for long-term care, it comes out income tax-free. This strategy is for non-qualified dollars only, but that's the final sales idea I'll leave you with. Old fixed annuities that may appear as, a quote unquote dead asset, through the 1035 process, you can leverage up not only by 2 or 3 times, but also alleviate the tax burden for all the earnings that have accrued over all those years. So 3 quick strategies: an enhanced death benefit, 7% for 15 years on the choice accumulation, income 150 plus for income now or soon, and a long-term care fixed annuity that is 1035 friendly, decisions in under 30 minutes. And that's the story. 3 lanes, and whatever we can do to help you guys all have my contact information. Nathan, you can feel free to pass that along, and I'll shoot you an email when I get back with the materials that I've showed on screen today. So whatever you guys found most interesting, you'll have a copy of everything I've showed you.
That was the last thing I was going to ask. If you can send that over, and then any other, because I know you guys have microsites and your annuity page that doesn't need a login. If there's anything else that you have on that end, shoot it over because that's useful as well.
That sounds good to me. Well, hey, I really appreciate the time. Sorry we were kind of butting up against it, kind of a weird day here, but
No
happy to
worries.
be on the call, and whatever we can do to, like I said, we're here to be a valuable partner. We've made the investment, added the headcount, so we're here to help, whatever we can do.
Sounds good. Well, you get out of here, Dave. We'll discuss afterwards, and then I'm sure you'll be hearing us on a few different things. So I really appreciate your time, and we'll be talking later.
Hey, that sounds great. Thanks, Nathan. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, bye, Dave. All right, so now that I have everyone else here, we're going to spend, and we may not spend the full hour because usually we have the carrier talk for an hour, but we are going to switch it where we'll have, if we're having a carrier or a technology or service partner in, they'll start at 9:30 and then we'll discuss afterwards because then we get to hear some things. So with that said, though, I know, Jeff, good to see you on, by the way.
Good morning.
And you caught the tail end of that. But does anybody have any questions about what they saw? And then I'll have some things that I want to ask everyone about as well. But anything that you saw that you have questions about, or something that you saw is like, oh, that's really valuable, I didn't know that. I'll leave it up to you guys for a second.
Well, just quickly, catching the tail end of the income, it's the income 150?
Yeah, income 150.
Okay. The one question which I guess Dave could, maybe you can address, if it becomes a payment for healthcare in a 5-year period,
Yep.
does it change the taxation?
Well, no, because and we can confirm this, but what I would say is using that 10,000 example, the 10,000 that they're going to pay on the income, that's still going to be taxable. And then the 10,000 that they're paying for the long-term care event, that's reimbursement style. So I would imagine that that's not taxable because it's being used for long-term care. But yeah, so that's probably how that splits basically. Any other questions? And William had to jump off, and then I know Sylvester's in listen only mode. So Jeff, it's you and me for discussion. You got the floor again.
1 second. Okay.
I suppose I'll ask you real quick too, because I know you at least saw the 4Care stuff. Are you familiar with Global Atlantic's 4Care, their long-term care product?
Yeah, I've been looking at it. I went to what we don't need a agent code for, the agent tool kit.
Yeah,
agency
whatever.
tool.
I was trying to think of the agent annuity, whatever it's called. I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. And what I found is even if you go to their website, there's a icon for it that you can click on, so you don't need a login for it. But what I find is, matter of fact, I'm trying to work with somebody now that all the questions are no to the health questions, but then it asks for all medications being taken. And unfortunately, Dave had to leave, but I'm wondering if there's any medications that would eliminate somebody
I'm
from
sure.
coverage.
Yeah, possibly. So that'd be a good question to ask on that. And I don't know the answer to that one off the top of my head, so I won't pretend like I know either.
Yeah, but it's one we can all explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
and
I
then-
mean the 4Care product, the idea of 2 to 3 times benefit, it's a very, very simple and powerful storyline in the long-term care arena. I mean, and it's a unique product on how that works. I know there's other products, like asset care and stuff like that, and things like that are a lot of times they're 2 times, but the 3 times storyline with a very simple questionnaire. I mean, that's Global Atlantic has a unique product line. Like
very much so.
yeah, they're very competitive, and they're not big either. Like that's in the annuity space, that's our ace in the hole. Because most people are gonna be like, well, Global Atlantic, like, yeah, I know who they are, but oh, I didn't know they did this product line or they had that. And that was actually really helpful because I haven't heard them present it in the lanes of, the fast lane, the slow lane, and then the emergency lane, of how each one of them applies. So those are good 3 sales concepts that they talked about that I was familiar with some of them, but the way he presented was good.
Yeah. As I say, it's unfortunate he had to run because the other thing is, and I'm sure it's in the material, is that the first day coverage for home health care.
Oh,
That's huge.
and usually there's always an elimination period. It's probably going to be 60 days. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% sure. It's in, I know it's in the material somewhere.
Yeah, I'll have to look for that. I think I read it somewhere because I don't remember though if the home health care days, if somebody has to transition into another category, nursing facility or adult daycare, if they credit, pardon me, if they credit those days towards the elimination, or would it be starting from day one?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm actually trying to see if I can. There you go. Qualify for benefits. Receipt of proof is required from a licensed healthcare practitioner stating you are chronically ill and are incapable of performing without substantial assistance to activities of daily living for at least 90 days. The elimination period is 90 days of covered care within 270 consecutive days. Waived for home health care with qualifying plan of care. So 90-day elimination.
Yeah, but it'll be, what I need to know, or what would be interesting is if they credit the home health care days towards satisfying that 90-day for nursing facility or adult daycare and so on.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and I would imagine that would be one of the questions though, because I think if they're already in, like, this isn't for someone that's already in the situation.
Correct.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So Dave and Keaton are both I'll add their information to that sheet because there are direct contacts over on that end. You can shoot them an email, shoot them a message. They'll give them a call. They'll be able to answer all of that, and they'll talk with the agent. They'll help out with that, whatever they can. I will say this: that's part of what the oh, yeah, that's right. You didn't hear this part, but part of their storyline is Global Atlantic basically went from 4 people to 25 people for the independent channel. So they're really focused on increasing their market share in the independent space. So Keaton and Dave are our points of contact. Dave's the internal, Keaton's the external. But yeah, they'll help out with whatever they can to make that happen. And they'd be able to answer like all those questions intelligently on that end.
Beautiful.
But I'll make a note of adding them to the sheet. The only other thing I was going to say, because with what you missed at the beginning, Jeff, was, and I don't know if you have anybody that works in this situation with enhanced death benefits. So theirs was pretty good, and I actually had an agent that actually was looking at it right now, and the enhanced death benefit is a 7% guaranteed simple interest roll-up, and the fee for the enhanced death benefit is only 50 bips, which, I mean, I've looked at other enhanced death benefits, and they're usually 1% to 1.05%, sometimes even 1.5. So that's significantly less. And on top of that too, some of the other enhanced death benefits that are out there require that you live for 5 years to get the total benefit amount. This one, if you live for 2 years, 1 year, from the contract date to the anniversary date, they'll give you that 7% simple interest roll up. And that applies, you die the next day, then you still get all that.
So it takes effective immediately.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah, if you passed away in the first, before the first anniversary date, then there's no roll up. But it starts immediately. So whatever anniversary date, that's when they apply the 7% interest. However many years, whether it be 1 year or maximum is 15 years, that they'll do the 7% interest roll up.
Got it.
So that was good to know. Like I said, I just texted one of the agencies and let them know, like, hey, we have an option for this and it's better than the other ones, because that's specifically what they were looking for. Other than any other questions just about Global Atlantic or anything else? And then, like I said, I'm going to ask, we'll do a couple things real quick, Jeff, and we're probably going to wrap up by 10:30. We won't keep everyone on too long today. Like I said, since Global Atlantic only had 30 minutes, but any other questions or anything that you saw from what that information?
No, not at this point.
All right. Then all I'm going to do is I would just want to wrap up on my end of giving, we'll see if I can keep it concise. But Global Atlantic, and just from our perspective, how we should be talking about them, and how we can utilize them, because we've kind of mentioned a few things, but I want to leave this at the end, especially for those that get the recording, of a few pieces of information that are valuable and snippets that we can use in our conversations with agents when we're talking to anybody that's in the annuity field. Number one is that Global Atlantic does not have a huge market share. Now that's not a snippet, but that's just information for us to understand. Whenever we're talking to anybody that's in the annuity space, Global Atlantic should be our go-to outside of the Alliances and the Athenes and the American Equities and things like that, because those have been players in the annuity space for quite a long time. And they're really large players that have a lot of market share or brand awareness. So understand that in your conversations. If you can pivot to Global Atlantic as quickly as possible, that should incite some ability to be like, oh, I didn't know, and use one of these strategies as an example. That's something that you'll be able to keep the conversation going, because most agents aren't fully aware of Global Atlantic. Some of them know who they are. Some of them may not even like Global Atlantic and be like, oh, well, that's the old Forethought. So just FYI, that's, I think that was like 6-7 years ago. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up, but that's what they used to be known as Forethought. And then they went from Forethought to Global Atlantic. So just be aware of that side. They're still not a big player, but their products are really, really great. So that's one thing. That's why I wanted to have Global Atlantic on. We will, of course, have the other ones on at some point as well. But for us in the marketing world, we need something to pivot to in the annuity space that's semi-unique and not as well known. Global Atlantic's definitely it. I won't go over too much, but then the next thing is the product line. So Dave did a good job of going through those 3 different categories. So we have the accumulation and income storyline. We have the SPIA and the fixed annuity side. They're MIGA basically. There's 3 and 5 years, and then they have the 4Care product line. Where I've seen their sweet spot, and this is what we've talked about a lot, is that income 150 product. Like I said, I'm not going to be the dead horse, but the biggest thing that I've seen is the flexibility of when you can turn on income. In the bonus income annuity world, the bigger, like I said, the bigger players are Allianz and Athene. Athene's Agility. Athene has some other products as well. And then Allianz 222. Most other income annuities have a 10-year play where you have to keep the annuity for 10 years and then you can turn it on for income. Whereas with Global Atlantic, they have one of the few, and I actually don't, like, I know they're out there. I don't know them off the top of my head, but there's not as many players in that space that have a large bonus and a back end guarantee that you can turn on income any year that you want to. That's the unique thing about Global Atlantic. And like I said, I mentioned that earlier when Dave was on, but the idea that statistically speaking, most people, most clients don't actually turn on their income riders because of how long it takes. Their needs usually change within a 10-year period of time. And so they either take out, the 10% penalty free, or they move it someplace else, or they don't turn on the income because they actually didn't need it in the first place. So if the income play is there, Global Atlantic's product is probably one of the best to be able to utilize, even if the other products can illustrate a larger income benefit, for the main reason that 10 years is a very, very long time to delay income, because things are going to end up changing at that time. The point that that agents should be, I believe, should be selling more so is the flexibility of being able, if those things change, we can turn on this annuity at any time. And I think that's a very good play and something that everyone should take note of when they're talking to the agents, and those agents are using income annuities. So that's the Income 150. They have a good choice accumulation on that side too. I'm not going to dive into it right now, but if someone's just looking for accumulation, they have some good indices with decent participation rates and things like that. And then the last thing I was going to say is the 4Care product. Then is we just talked about it. So like I said, I'm not going to go over it again, but anybody that's in that asset-based long-term care space or looking for those different options, I would push them towards the 4Care product rather relatively quickly, unless they're familiar with something else and they just want to sell that other thing. But this is competitive in that space, and that 3 times multiplier is huge. So if someone can qualify for that, and you can get those 10 questions very easily. So you can send it to an agent, say, hey, these are the 10 questions. If they say no to all these questions, then they're going to get the premier benefit. You can literally get a decision in 30 minutes, and they can get 3 times that multiplier for long-term care. That's a very good storyline. And the last thing that I'll say then is their commissions. So their street level commissions are typically about a point above a lot of other carriers, a lot of spaces. So like the Income 150, the street level comp is 7%. Same thing with their choice accumulation. Whereas like Athene's is at 6.5. I think Allianz is at 6. So the street level comp is good. And also the spread, the override on top is pretty good as well. Not that that's the reason that we're pushing people towards it, but if you know that in the back of your head, that's like that added bonus. Like, hey, I already showed you the product line, and this is why it should fit within your portfolio. But hey, just for doing the right thing, you're going to get a little bit more money than maybe some other places. But those would be the few things that I would say of the Global Atlantic story. Oh, I apologize. One other thing, because Jeff, you already mentioned it, but they're microsites. There's not a lot of other annuity places too that allow you to run quotes, get product information, and things like that without a contract number. So Global Atlantic has that microsite. Leverage that, use that to send to people. I mean, I just did that yesterday with somebody that was looking at the Income 150 and sent them over that information, and that was really beneficial. They can run their own quotes and illustrations from there. And then on their microsites, they also have 2 client-facing microsites. One is called Downturn Defense. I don't know why that sounds strange to me now. It may be called Downturn Defense. Let's see. Yeah, it is called Downturn Defense. There we go. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick, but this is one of their microsites, downturn defense. They did a really good job on it. Actually, I forgot. Actually, I apologize. I turned it into a PDF actually. But there's examples on here. There's pictures. There's different things. They did a really good job with this piece. So this is something that you can utilize. And again, it's talking about the idea of, zero is your hero concept. And then the other one is income ready. And this one they still kept as a microsite. But income ready, really talking about the idea of that nest egg and how long is it going to last and what that looks like. And they talk about different myths. This is client facing. This is approved that you can send out to an agent can send out to a client. They have great materials, videos already built in. So this is a good tool to utilize as well. So any place that agents can get more materials or sales concepts that are client approved is always beneficial as well. But that's it on my end. That's how I've talked about Global Atlantic in the past. They're still a great player in that space. Definitely utilize them more and more, and really excited to be able to have, like I said, Dave is kind of a new addition, and Keaton as well. So leverage them as much as you can as well. They're all there for you guys to use. I will have their information in the important contacts document that's on Band. So you guys can go into the file section of Band, open that up, and they'll be in there as well.
Awesome.
But any other questions?
No, they look to be competitive, and they really do want to grow their market share. And 1% commission, just basically, if you're talking about $500,000 in annuity premium, you'll get an extra $5,000 over the other company you mentioned.
Yep.
And still putting the client in a really nice position.
Absolutely. I mean, that's definitely a big deal right there. And that's why it's led with the products, but compensation doesn't hurt as well.
Yep.
But if there's nothing else, like I said, we'll wrap up a little bit early. Next week, we are, I'll see, but I don't think we're going to have anybody on. We're going to take, I'll have some things prepared for everyone, and we'll have some conversations and kind of recap some of the things, because we did week after week after week of carrier information. So we'll take a step back and kind of mull some of that over, talk about some different strategies and different things that we can focus on to have those agent conversations and bring them on board and get contracted. But and then with that said, unless there's anything else, you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day. I will post the recording. It'll be in the YouTube channel, and then I'll send everyone a link in Band as well to let you know that it's up and running. But really appreciate everyone's time. And Sylvester, you were phenomenal today. There we go. I knew it was gonna get a chat. I'm like, I know you're silent because background stuff, but I appreciate you jumping on. And then that's what I was gonna say, Sylvester, when I post the recording, because I know not everyone's using viewing Band right now, just shoot Tiffany a text to check Band as well, because I know this would be useful for her as well. But yes, everyone utilize Band. We're putting more and more content in there, and things that are going on back there as well. And I know that'll be useful. And then I know William was on as well, so he should be able to see that also. But appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day, everyone. We will talk very soon.
Likewise. Thanks, Nathan.
All right, you're welcome.